What's up, YouTube? Scarlight Duel is coming at you tonight with a deck profile for my Link Spam Mermails. This has been a really fun deck for me to try out. This is actually my second time picking up the deck. The first time I picked it up, I kind of focused more on the OTK-oriented variant. Didn't really care too much for it. Ended up getting rid of the deck. And then this time around, I decided, hey, I want to try out the Link Spam build because I have better funds now. And here I am. I picked up the deck again. And I've actually been really enjoying it. In terms of power, it can make really strong boards that are dang near unbreakable unless you have, like, something along the lines like Sphere Mode, or maybe evenly matched, depending on what you bait out in terms of negation. But this is a really good deck. The only issue I have with it is its lack of recovery and a little bit in the consistency department, but it's kind of one of those things, like, the fact that it's stronger than my Magicians, I like, but I wish it had the same level of consistency of that deck, because if it did, this deck would be godly. But, you know, we can't have everything we want, but regardless, I still have a really cool deck profile that I want to show you guys that I've been working with. I actually got the first opportunity to take to my locals this past Saturday. I went X1, however, this is not the same build because that build, in my opinion, just wasn't really that good because I didn't have it geared to go first or second. It was just a weird middle ground, and in my opinion, just wasn't that efficient in terms of the consistency because of that aspect. And I'm hoping that the way I have it built this time around is a little more consistent. That way I can kind of go off more. But rambling aside, I want to go ahead and get straight into the video. And before I get into it, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and to Team TNY as well, because I'm going to be posting the deck profile up on there as well. Starting off with the deck profile, Triple Megalos, your main OTK enabler. Whenever you discard 2 other water monsters, you can special summon this card and add an Abyss Scale to your hand. And then you contribute another face-up attack position water monster, and this card can attack twice during that battle phase. Really good card. Level 7 also, so it allows you to make Galaxy Tomahawk. Following up with that is Triple Bistius, your main combo piece. You just discard 1 other water monster to special summon it, and then when it's summoned, you get to add a level 4 or lower Mermail monster from your deck to your hand. So you get to add Abyss Gun or Abyss Pike. In the case of my particular deck, you can add whatever Mermail you want as long as it's level 4 or lower, depending on how your build is set up. But it's one of your main combo cards, and of course it's level 7, so it gives you access to Galaxy Tomahawk. Before I go any further, I just want to apologize for talking so fast. It's just, I recorded this video several other times, and I've been interrupted, or I'd mess up like somewhere in the middle of it. And I just kind of want to hurry up and get this done and get this out, because I want y'all to actually be able to see this, hopefully, by tomorrow. Following that up, though, is Gun and Pike. Not too much to say here. Gun lets you revive a Mermail from your graveyard when it's discarded by any means. Doesn't have to be a water monster. And then Pike lets you discard a water monster to add a level 3 water monster from your deck to your hand, so you can discard an Atlantean, which gives you access to some form of disruption, depending on which Atlantean you send, preferably heavy infantry or dragoon, or heavy infantry or marksman. And then you could add a level 3 water monster from your deck to your hand. So it's a really good card overall. That actually rounds out the Mermail count. For the Atlanteans, I run the triple Neptibus. This card allows you to send an Atlantean to your graveyard to add one to your hand. And the sending to the graveyard is cost, so regardless, you're more than likely going to get a search off, because typically what you'll do is you'll send a Dragoons to add a Dragoons. So even if they ash this, you always have to affect your Dragoons in graveyard. So it's a really good card, and when it's sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you get to revive an Atlantean from your graveyard, except for a copy of itself, which is perfectly fine, because a lot of times you'll typically revive like Atlantean Dragoons, which it really doesn't matter what you revive for the most part, because typically, with the way this deck works, you'll just be using it for link fodder anyways. So, really solid card. And in my opinion, it's definitely one of the cards that allows the deck to kind of keep up with the meta to a slim degree. Following that up is the standard double Dragoons. If this card was at 3, I would definitely run it because it's really good. It allows you to search for any level Sea Serpent type monster and add it to your hand when it's sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect. And its monster effect, though not too relevant, is still solid in and of itself. It allows you all level 3 or lower Sea Serpent type monsters to attack your opponent directly. So if you have Neptibus or Marksman on the field, they can attack directly, which may not be much damage, but it can always help you push further for game. So it's a solid card all in all. With it being a level 4 water, it allows you to go into Hummet Shark a little more easily. Following that up, double heavy infantry, so you can pop face-up cards when it's used as fodder for a water monster's effect. And then Atlantean Marksman, so whenever he inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can summon a Neptibus or a Dragoons. I would not summon a heavy infantry in my opinion because it has no attack. And then If it's sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you get a pop a set back row, which is really nice in and of itself. That actually rounds out the Atlantean count. For the other monsters in the deck, for the next engine at least, I do run the Swap Frogs with the single copy Ronin Totem. Not too much to say here other than the fact that it just allows you to extend your plays further and make another totally awesome, or you can use it for link fodder. So it's rather diverse in my opinion. I could run Dupe Frog, but I just don't see no point in it. For the rest of the monsters, I run Diva because it's a tuner and allows you to go into Neptibus a little more easily and allows me to make Armorion, which is the only synchro I run in this deck. Double Gamma Steel so I can out any sort of big monster that basically says you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh that much. And against True Draco, I actually opened up with this both games, and it basically won me the game both times. Really good card overall. And then for the hand traps, my standard ratio, in my opinion, Max C, Double Ash. I don't run a whole lot of hand traps in my decks because I don't need them, because I typically have enough disruption on their own that I don't need a whole lot of hand traps. But, you know, if I need them, I need them. If I don't, I don't. It's actually all the spells for the, or all the monsters for the spells. Double Waterfront so I can search out Gamma Seal, and whenever I summon the Gamma Seal to my field via Firewall Dragon's effect, I have this hopefully loaded up with counters, so I have multiple negates that should hopefully put my opponent at such a disadvantage that they can't come back from it. Following that up is Double Moray of Greed, because every now and then we'll get those really awkward bricky hands, and this just allows us to unbrick them. Double Twin Twister to remove back row that could cause problems for us going off. And then for the one-ofs, Terraforming for the Kyoto Waterfront, because I don't want to run too many Terraformings, and I definitely don't want to run too many Waterfronts because of the fact that it will clog after a while. Raigeki, 1-for-1 for the Neptibus play. Soul Charge because it's a really clutch card and allows you to make really, really overpowered boards that are, in my opinion, that can come out to be stronger than Spiral boards. Which, I mean, take that on a grain of salt, but that's just my opinion, personally. And then Mizuchi for the Megalo. Upstart Goblin, so it reduces your deck count, just deck thinning. And then for the only trap, double evenly matched. I have a third one coming in, but it hasn't came in yet. So for the time being, I'm just running 2. But even in testing, this has been a phenomenal card at 2. And it helped me win one of my games against True Draco because going second, my opponent had just a masterpiece on the field and set back row. I went into battle phase, activated this. They took away all their back row, didn't even worry about the masterpiece. And then main phase 2, I just kaiju'd them, and they couldn't do anything after that. It was pretty much game. It's about a 40-41 card main deck. Onto the extra deck, I run Link Spider, Starboy, 1 Ib, Double Proxy, Decode Talker, Gaia Saber, and Double Firewall. Before I go any further, I'd just like to explain that all these cards, except for the Starboy, or for the Link Spam combo, this is just here for the sole aspect that if the Firewall combo just happens to get broken through, I lose that board. I at least have at least one Link monster to fall back on. That should give my monsters enough of an attack point boost that I should still be able to push for a lot of damage. But even then, it's still really good in and of itself. For the rest of the extra deck, the one Armorion, like I said, because it does give us that pseudo Flame Wingman effect, and the 1,000 point attack boost is really nice, and it allows us to get some of our monsters up to fairly high attack point values. And then for the XCs, Double Toe because we do run the Frog engine, and of course Bahamut Shark, so we have to at least run 2 because it would just make sense. There'd be no point in us running the Frog engine if we were only going to run 1 Toad and then the Bahamut Shark. And speaking of the Devil, Bahamut Shark for the Toad, Galaxy Tomahawk for the Link Spam combo, and then Abyss Giles just because of the fact that we do run level 7s, and overlaying into this at certain aspects in the game will allow us to negate monster effects that our opponent controls. It helped me win one of my games against Battle Foes because I was able to negate Thrillium from bouncing this back. And it's a really solid card. People underestimate this because of the fact that we don't really just have a whole lot of cards that are just incredibly affected by, which is understandable with the deal with links being a thing. But even then, it's still a really good card in my opinion. It's actually a 15 card extra deck onto the side deck. This is a little awkward, but Moon Glacia. This is probably going to be something I'll probably get critiqued on, which is 100% understandable, but I only have this in here because it's a going first card. It's not a going second card. I got the deck geared to go second primarily, but there'll be games I'll be better off going first maybe. Therefore, I'll side this instead of main. I may even cut it all together. I'm not 100% sure yet. It just kind of depends on how everything goes on testing from here on out. Following that up is Marksman. Nothing else to explain there. Ghost Ogre because it's good against Spiral, Pendulum Magician, Trickstar, and a lot of rogue decks, and just disrupts them and kind of puts them at more of a disadvantage than what they could already be at. Triple Reaper. I only run like technically 2 or 3 targets overall, counting my extra deck and my side deck. And that's like Firewall, Decode Talker, and then a card I'll get to in a minute. And it's more of a rogue card just because it's a card that I deal with a lot at my locals, and I just don't want to deal with it with this deck because it's so vulnerable and doesn't have good recovery. And this just eliminates the fear of that particular card. For traps, of course, Double Mind Crush to out evenly matched, and there's other problematic cards that my opponents could be using. Double Dimensional Barrier for decks that rely less on link spam and more on just the other extra deck mechanics or rituals, depending on if you play like Chaos Max or maybe Necrolls. If you're just a really dedicated Necrolls fan, I can't say I blame you. And then for the rest of the traps, One Warning and Double Strike. Just nothing to explain there. It's just effect and monster negation, and it's just they're just really good cards overall, and they just never 100% fade out of the meta. They either become main deck staples, side deck staples. They may fade in and out here and there, but they're always here in some way, shape, or form. And then for the last side deck card, Trigger, because this is a card that I don't like dealing with, and if I don't have to deal with it, and I'm just in a much better position overall, and it just helps me win games. Because whenever I was playing this past Saturday, I dropped cherries on my opponent, declared Trigger because I knew he had it, and basically had to rely on Deltaros mainly and Abyss Dweller, which he normally wouldn't do. He would typically just rely on this to bounce everything back, and he couldn't do that then. So it was a really good play on my behalf, but it could have went either way at that point. But it was really fun. I enjoyed how the deck played and the performance of it overall. But all that being said, that actually concludes the deck profile, you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I've actually been putting in a lot of work into this deck just because of the fact that I've been dying to play it, and the fact that I finally got the opportunity to play it this past Saturday was phenomenal. I enjoy it, and I hope to actually bring more deck profiles and hopefully duel videos with this in the near future if I get the opportunity. But not too much else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Scarlight Duelist signing out. Thank y'all.